Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. Excuse me. This video that I'm about to show you and the information that I'm gonna read up on and share with you guys is something that's truly disturbing, but at the same time is not shocking. Okay, it's just that the more people try to hide it, the more this kind of information comes out. But a lot of times you have to go digging for it, and you'd be surprised how deep the agenda on the left goes when it comes to children. Okay, and this whole transgender movement. All right, I have a couple of small video clips here that I'm going to play, and two articles that, unless I'm reading them wrong, okay, and I'll leave it up to you guys to leave comments and tell me if I'm reading these two articles wrong. It only shows the for lack of a better term, and I'm gonna phrase it my way. It only shows a dark demonic, not gonna say movement. It's can't even put the right words together. It's just a demonic thing that's around us, that's plaguing society. Okay, that is trying to infiltrate children's minds, trying to destroy families, trying more and more to take God out the equation. Okay, like I said, I can't find the right words in order to describe what exactly is going on, even though we all know that there's been a big push, okay, and not just here in America but overseas, with this whole transgender movement that is anything but what they say when they say that it's a movement of love. It's actually not. It's really not. Okay, it's a sick, twisted campaign that like I said, one can only describe as is just demonic. Okay, and for whatever reasons that these public officials that we have, for example, the video that I put out yesterday exposing Kamala Harris's vice president pick, okay, Tim Walz, which, by the way, people, before I forget, if you haven't seen the video that I put out yesterday, I need everyone to go back and check out the video again and give it a thumbs up. And I'll tell you quickly before we go any further. Okay, they YouTube pushed the video out about 3,000 times, but I noticed last night that it was moving very, very slow, and I got less than 90 views on it, which is kind of okay, but it's almost as if, yeah, it was pushed out, but it makes me wonder how many people that are subscribed to my channel got the notification. How many people did it really reach? Just because it was pushed out, in my opinion, doesn't mean that it reached all different categories the way it should. Okay, because I put thumbnails in order for it to reach different categories. And like I said, watching my videos, after I drop a video, I can tell in the first hour how good a video is going to do. Okay, this video dragged for like the first hour, first 2 hours. I mean, it just dragged and dragged and dragged, and then overnight it caught a little bit of steam, and it's again dragging today. Now everything is in the green on my YouTube studio, but it's barely making the cut. Okay, so if you didn't watch it or watch it in its entirety, go back and watch it again. If you didn't give it a thumbs up, please do. Okay, and leave comments also. Okay, but getting back to this situation, I'm going to play some stuff here that I just found to be very shocking, and is being kept quiet, obviously. Okay, the mainstream media won't talk about it. because it's going to go against their agenda, and you'll be surprised at some things you're going to hear. Okay, so stay with me, bear with me, and before I continue, don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. If you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. I'm leaving the links again from my friend Josie and Loza Alexander. And of course, I want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. Also, if you can join me on Rumble, please do so. Okay. So without further ado, this was put out by the Toronto Sun, okay, back in June 10th, over a month ago. I want you to listen to what this pediatrician has to say. She's from the American College of Pediatricians, okay, and she's putting out a statement on gender, okay. You guys need to listen to this. Here we go.
And we have serious concerns about the physical and mental health effects of the current protocols promoted for the care of children and adolescents in the United States who express discomfort with their biological sex. This declaration was authored by the American College of Pediatricians, but really it was developed from the expertise of hundreds of doctors, researchers, and other healthcare workers and leaders who, for years, have been sounding the alarm on the harmful protocols that continue to be promoted by the medical organizations in the United States. Despite recent revelations from the leaked WPATH files and the recent release of the final report from the CASH review, these medical organizations have not changed course. So we are calling on these medical organizations of the United States, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Endocrine Society, the Pediatric Endocrine Society, the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association, and the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry to follow the science and their European colleagues and immediately stop the promotion of social affirmation, puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries for children and adolescents who experience distress over their biological sex. In our declaration, we affirm that sex is a dimorphic, innate trait defined in relation to an organism's biological role in reproduction, male and female. This genetic signature is present in every nucleated somatic cell in the body and is not altered by drugs or surgical interventions. Consideration of these innate differences is critical to the practice of good medicine and to the development of sound policy for children and adults alike. Medical decision-making should be based upon an individual's biological sex. It should respect biological reality and the dignity of the person by compassionately addressing the whole person. We are here defying the claims made by these medical organizations in the US that those of us who are concerned are a minority and that their protocols are consensus. They are not consensus, and we are speaking in a loud, unified voice, enough.
Okay, there you go. It was only a 2-minute clip. Now, you know, this is something that a lot of people don't want to talk about because they feel uncomfortable about it. They feel like they're going to be vilified. It's something that a lot of people don't know of what's going on. Okay, excuse me. And there is a large group of people that are pushing, okay, for this demonic agenda, and they're trying to vilify everybody else, saying that if you don't respect what that child says, how they feel, then you are a homophobe, you are a racist, you are evil, you are this, you are that. But here's the thing, you have adults, okay, that are vilifying the adults who have children, who want to work with their children, who want to raise their children, who want to understand their children. Then you have you have these adults on the side telling those adults that they're wrong if they don't let their children disfigure their body, and if you don't let their children's minds just go to waste. Okay? Now, when I've been sitting on this video for a couple of days, thinking, okay, let me, when I get a chance, I'm gonna try to look for more information. and I came across two articles online. One came out back in June also, okay, and one came out about 4 or 5 days ago. And like I said, people, I'm going to read the article. There's a little video clip in the article. I'm going to play it. I'm going to read these articles, and please leave me comments and tell. And after I make put my thoughts into it, please leave me comments and let me know if I am reading these articles wrong. Okay? Please do me that favor. But let's continue. Here we go. Okay, now this is the first article I'm going to read. I'm not going to go back to the one that came out a month ago just yet. I'm going to read this one first. Okay? This came out 4 days ago. It was put up by The Guardian. And this was an opinion by Sonia, I hope I say her name right, Soda, S-O-D-H-A. And it says, it says the BMA's stance on puberty blockers defies the key principle of the BMA's stance on puberty blockers defies the key principle of medicine. First, do no harm. Okay? It says, we entrust doctors with our health, patients. Patients have the right to expect that those doctors will make decisions based on evidence-based clinical guidelines, not modish fads. Okay? Now, if anybody knows a lot of my content that I put out, I've said it before, and I've stated and put out video of doctors and people leaving their opinions saying that, you know what, that this whole transgender movement, for as much steam as it has gained, that it is a scientific impossibility for so many people in society, grown-ups and children, to be suffering from this so-called dysphoria. Okay? And right here in the first sentence it says, we entrust doctors with our health. Patients have the right to expect that those doctors will make decisions based on evidence-based clinical guidelines, not modish fads. Okay? Meaning that this whole transgender movement has been more of a fad, because look at what they're doing in the schools, behind closed doors, in churches. I mean, they're pushing this transgender movement more and more and more. From the Olympics to the White House, I mean, they just push it and push it and push it. Okay? That even some churches are opening up where they have like transgender churches. I mean, it's just getting way out of control. And to me, it is, I couldn't think of the word before, but now that I think about it, it is a demonic fad that is being pushed, okay, by some very wicked, evil people. Now, bear with me, people, because after this article, you're going to be surprised on the next article that I'm going to read you. This one's only a 5-minute read. The next one's a 3-minute read. But let's continue. It says, I'll go back. Not modish fads, grounded in the first do no harm principle. That's perhaps never more important than when it comes to life-altering medical intervention for children. Okay? So it's hard to make sense of a decision by the governing council of the Doctors Union, the British Medical Association, to pass a motion criticizing a groundbreaking evidence review of healthcare for gender-questioning children, led by the distinguished pediatrician Hilary Cass. It is a highly contested area of medicine, which is why NHS England commissioned an independent review in 2020. Cass published a damning final report in April, concluding that the NHS Specialist Gender Clinic for Children, now closed, put an unknown but significant number of gender-questioning children on puberty blockers, drugs, and/or cross-sex hormones, undeterred by the lack of evidence of benefit and potentially very serious risk to their long-term health. So, you have people on the left, like in California, Gavin Newsom, that fucking snake of a man, okay? As a matter of fact, if anybody watches the Bishop Mar Emanuel, I watched one of his videos earlier today. I believe he put it out yesterday. He says that he wants to go to California and get right in Gavin Newsom's face for passing that law, that if parents don't affirm their children's transgenderism, that the children will be taken away from them. Here is a bishop that is stationed, I believe, out in Australia, that is so pissed off that he said he wants to get in Gavin Newsom's face for passing a law that would do that. This is how wicked and evil this has become, people. But let's continue. Putting children onto a medical pathway could cement a temporary distress into something more permanent. This was despite the fact that studies suggest that gender dysphoria resolves itself naturally in many children. Meaning that if a child feels like this one way, chances are they're going to grow out of it. Okay? I mean, everybody has heard of the term tomboy. That's a little girl that wants to play around boys, acts like a boy, but eventually she'll grow out of it. But to keep pushing the issue, like, you know what, the day that she comes out and says, you know what, I don't want to wear boys' clothes anymore, I want to wear a dress, and there is an adult in her ear saying, no, you know what, no, that's not what you want. You've been acting like a boy. You've been acting like a boy because you are a boy. You don't have to put that dress on. That's what's going on in society. And teachers are doing it, principals are doing it, governors are doing it, mayors are doing it, politicians are doing it, priests are doing it, doctors are doing it, counselors are doing it, everybody and their mother's doing it, even your next door neighbor's probably doing it. Okay? But let's continue. Where was I? Okay. It says the review recommends a complete rethink of NHS service for gender questioning children, a holistic, therapeutic first approach with puberty blockers prescribed for new patients only as part of an NHS research trial. Recommendations that the NHS has acted on. There's no two ways about it. The CASH review pulled back the curtain on how gender questioning children have been starkly failed by the medical profession. You might think that would prompt reflection, not at the BMA. It has just announced that its governing council of 69 medics has passed a motion accusing the CASH review of making unsubstantiated recommendations, calling for the BMA to publicly critique the review and to lobby to oppose the implementation of its recommendations, including halting the use of unevidenced drugs on children outside a trial. The BMA has also I can't say it. Ludicrously, sorry people, called on the government not to implement the CASH review while it undertakes its own review. It will be one thing if the BMA has a serious critique of the review. It does not when I ask. It could not tell me which of the CASH recommendations the council believed to be unsubstantiated, saying it would not prejudice its own review. Its press release points to two papers that are not peer-reviewed or published in a reputable scientific journalist, thus obliged to declare conflicts of interest as evidence of sufficient concern about the review's methodology to justify pausing its implementation. Excuse me. The Yale Law School paper cited by the BMA was written by a mix of legal and medical academics, a majority of whom are members of the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. Now, in the video I just showed you, the woman mentioned that, Pediatrician mentioned WPATH, this organization right here. Okay? So now, this transgender community have put a bunch of freaking Dr. Frankensteins together, okay? And they call themselves the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. This is something that doctors still have no idea where it's coming from. They have some idea. They think it's more of a fad than anything else. But there is no concrete scientific proof, okay, that what is happening is what these organizations are saying, which is that basically these children are born this way and they are born in the wrong body, and we have to coddle them, we have to coddle this. It's like, no, that's not what's happening. What it is groups and an agenda pushing this fad, this ideology, this demonic mindset onto children. And then you couple that with adults who already have a sick fucking mindset. What do you have? You have something that's very, very wrong. Okay? Very wrong. But let's continue. Where was I? Okay. The World Professional Association for Transgender Health, WPATH, is a U.S. organization whose clinical guidelines for gender questioning children were directly criticized by the CASH review for its lack of development, rigor, and failure to reference its own systemic review of the evidence, because they don't have any evidence. It's bullshit. Evidence has since emerged suggesting that WPATH actually tried to suppress the systematic reviews that it commissioned from Johns Hopkins University because the results undermine its preferred approach, and that it was pressured by the Biden administration to remove minimum ages for treatment from its 2022 standards of care. The CASH review also found a study by at least one of the paper's authors to be of low quality. The second paper that the BMA cites is a preprint that takes an ideological position that evaluating these medical interventions with reference to mental health outcome is a misguided endeavor because it contradicts the legislation. I guess if I'm saying it wrong, somebody spell it out for me, of transness. One of its authors is the lead signatory of a public letter that spreads misinformation about the CASH review's methodology that has since been comprehensively debunked. How on earth did the BMA get itself into a position where its doctors are calling for the NHS to reinstate the prescription of unevidenced medicines to children, prompting the Academy of Royal Medical College and the Association of Clinical Psychologists to put out statements in support of the review? I've spoken to several of its members who are absolutely furious at the lack of consultation beyond the council. Elected on a turnout of just 7% of the BMA's 160,000 strong membership. Think about that, people. That is a lot of people in a section of the medical field that are putting out this kind of stuff. I mean, and this is not even including people, okay? This is not including, like I said, the politicians, the counselors, the teachers, the home attendants, if you got somebody watching your kids. I mean, that 160,000, in my opinion, goes up into the millions. Okay? The protesters, whatever organizations, I mean, they are coming for the children. That's basically the bottom line. It's a demonic movement that are coming for the children. And there's more, so stay with me. I'm almost done with this. And the way this seems to have been stitched up behind closed doors, despite the consultants committee last year passing a motion calling on the BMA to facilitate discussions of the CASH review. One council member has gone on the record to say that she believes the BMA's position to be out of step with its membership. It's not the first time that the BMA has embarrassed itself by making interventions in critical health policy issues that it doesn't properly understand. It did the same over COVID vaccines in 2021. It seems that the BMA leadership has been sucked into a polarized debate characterized by a misinformation campaign by activists and academics who don't like what the CASH review found. That campaign has included an unsuccessful judicial review of the government's decision to ban the private prescription of puberty blockers for gender dysphoria. The High Court last week ruled that the CASH review amounted to powerful scientific evidence in support of restriction on the supply of puberty blockers and false claims made about young people and suicide that the government's advisor on suicide prevention described last month as distressing and dangerous. And that's one of the things that we've been hearing a lot for years now, that is where the doctors come in, teachers, school counselors, social workers, child services, and they come up with the same thing. Do you want a dead daughter or do you want a live son? Meaning that if you don't let your daughter transition to a boy, she's going to commit suicide. So what do the parents do? They give in because they're scared. This is insane, people. And I am so surprised that this is not hitting the media like a storm. But we all know why. But let's finish this off and get to the next one. Yes, the BMA is run by doctors, but it was clinicians who were behind this scandal in the first place. The BMA's intervention serves as a reminder of how easily some doctors can become blinded by misinformation to the reason, rationality, and evidence that are critical to the best interests of patients. It shows that the publication of the CASH review isn't enough. The many doctors who stand by first do no harm must ensure that their colleagues return to the evidence in relation to the group of vulnerable children who deserve so much better from the medical profession. I agree, totally. Now, with that being said, like I said, this was put out by The Guardian. This was 4 days ago. Then I came across this article that came out a month ago, and it says, this is by AL.com. Biden officials sought to remove gender-affirming care minimum age guideline. Alabama court records show. Where are we? Biden administration officials attempted to pressure an international group that sets guidance on transgender health issues to remove the minimum age recommended for gender-affirming care, according to emails released in an Alabama court case challenging the state's ban on gender-affirming care for minors. Administration Rachel Levine, everybody knows who the fuck Rachel Levine is. If I'm correct, it is that transgender military dude that thinks he knows everything about children. Okay? I'm gonna chill. Okay. Administered at ADM, whatever. I am so pissed off. Rachel Levine, Assistant Secretary for Health with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, was very concerned that a minimum age for such surgeries will affect access to health care for trans youth, according to the emails. I cannot... Okay, now this is where I'm asking you people to tell me if I'm reading this wrong. Okay? I'll read it again. Leave your thoughts in the comments on this. Admiral, now that I think that's what it means, Rachel Levine, Assistant Secretary for Health with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, was very concerned that a minimum age for such surgeries will affect access to health care for trans youth, according to the emails. Levine is the first Senate-confirmed transgender official in a presidential administration. Now, am I reading this wrong, or is it that this grown-ass man that doesn't even think clearly, because he doesn't even know if he's a man or woman, that he's upset, okay, because a minimum age requirement was put in so that nobody under the age of 18 can have surgeries? Because if I'm reading this right, if that's what it means, I'd like to know what the hell, or not even what the hell, why in the world, okay, should this man be allowed to hold any position in government, in the military, in government, and even be around children? Okay, let's keep going. It says, Assistant Secretary for Health, Dr. Rachel Levine, strongly pressured WPATH, World Professional Association for Transgender Health, leadership to rush the development and issuance of SOC 8, Standards of Care version Standards of Care version 8, in order to assist with administration political strategy, stated the email from an unnamed member of the World Professional Association for Transgender Health and obtained by James Cantor, a psychologist and critic of gender-affirming care for minors. Okay, like I said, am I reading this wrong, people? Because it sounds like this person is secretly pushing this agenda for young people, for doctors and people to get involved and push this issue for little kids, okay, not to work with them and help them to see if, you know what they're truly thinking is true, or if not, let's help them grow out of it. No, it's like, as soon as they say it, put that slab on the table and let's start cutting them up. And then critique it and say that it's because of their health. We have to hurry up and do it. Am I reading this wrong, people? Am I reading this wrong? But let's go. Where was I? Yeah. Okay. Next one. Excuse me. It says Sarah Boateng, Levine's chief of staff, told WPAT that the biggest concern of the new standards of care is the section below in the adolescent chapter that lists specific minimum ages for treatment. She is confident, based on the rhetoric she is hearing in DC and from what we have already seen, that these specific listings of ages under 18 will result in devastating legislation for trans care, according to the email. She wonders if the specific ages can be taken out, and perhaps an adjunct document could be created that is published or distributed in a way that is less visible than the SOC 8 is the way to go. The missive went on to say, the missive, I don't know what that means, whatever. While Levine was generally pleased by the new standards, according to the email, he was very concerned that having ages, mainly for surgery, will affect access to health care for trans youth and maybe adults too. Listen, I don't understand what an age has to do with anything when it comes to healthcare. First of all, if you're an adult, okay, and you feel that you are in the wrong body and you want to go get your body altered, that's up to you. People do it all the time, especially in Hollywood, California. They're getting tummy tucks, they're getting facelift, they're getting Botox, all kinds of shit. If you are uncomfortable with your body as an adult, go do what you want to do. You got the money, go right ahead. Don't ask the government to fucking pay for it. That's your choice. Okay? But when you have a child, that one day that child, you can basically take a child on Halloween and give them 10 different choices of a costume, and if that child decided to wear every costume that day, that child will act like what he feels in that, or what he or she feels in that costume. That's just the way their minds work. To think that one day the child, a boy or a girl at a certain age, 3, 4, 5 years old, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, comes down and says, today I don't feel like a boy, I feel like a girl. To say that is going to be set in stone, because that's exactly what it is, it's demonic. Okay? And any parent that can stand there and look down at the creation, the gift that God has given you, and to look down on that child and make it seem that it's okay because you want to live vicariously through your child because you have a damn mental problem, that child should be taken away from you. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. But let's continue. Apparently, where was I? Yeah. Apparently the situation in the USA is terrible, and she and the Biden administration worried that having ages in the document will make matters worse. She asked us to remove them, the email stated. Of course, remove it and hide it. Like I said, if I'm reading this all wrong, people, please let me know. I'm open to criticism, okay? Where was I? Yeah. But WPAT told Levine that they could not remove minimum ages for gender-affirming care in the new standards. Given that the recommendations for minimum ages for the various gender-affirming medical and surgical intervention are consensus-based, we cannot remove them from the document, the email stated. Therefore, we have made changes as to how the minimal ages are represented in the documents. On behalf of the plaintiffs in the Alabama case challenging the state's ban, the Justice Department asked the judge overseeing the case to prevent cancer and other experts from testifying in Alabama's defense, check that out, of the law. The agency's claimed Cantor's testimony would be irrelevant to the case. Dr. Cantor seeks to opine on many matters beyond the scope of his limited expertise in adult psychology. Dr. Cantor is not a medical doctor, does not prescribe medications, and does not treat patients under the age of 16. The department said he is a clinical psychologist whose patients are typically 30 to 35 years old, and he makes no income from the assessment or clinical treatment of children. Nonetheless, he seeks to opine on medical care that he has never provided. Now here is here is the damn hypocrisy of all this. You're saying that this man, if I'm reading this right again, doesn't have a say-so in the matter, okay, to look at children, because he only works with adults. He doesn't have a say-so in the matter because he doesn't know. But yet you have organizations that I just read of, WPATH and other ones, that even though they do have doctors, it's the clinicians, people below the doctors, that are making decisions to go and butcher children, to go and give them medication that will hurt them in the long run. So if this is not a freaking double standard, I don't know what is. You're going to say because of the people that you choose, they can talk a lot of crap and it's supposed to be taken as scripture. But here is somebody who is a psychologist and says, you know what, I'm looking at this and it doesn't seem right to me. You can't take his word for it, and we can't have him understand because his opinion doesn't matter. He deals with adults. He doesn't know what's going on. I'll say it again. If I'm reading this wrong, people let me know. But if this is not a demonic agenda coming from the left, okay, in America, in Europe, when I read you, the lady did the video, that was from Canada. This is a demonic agenda that is coming for the kids. And the adults are behind it. Okay? Not the kids. The kids are going to follow fads. The kids are going to look at something and make it seem as if, oh, you know what? This is fine because everybody else is doing it. There's a video that I found. I downloaded it. I have to look it up again. I'm going to try to put it out on my next video. And it's gone viral. I'm talking by the millions, but they're trying to hide it. Of a man who walked in recording into his son's classroom, okay? And they had his son with other students in a dress. And as soon as the father walked in recording, he goes, why the hell is my son in a dress? That the teacher and the assistant teacher was startled, turned around and said, oh, no. It was just some sort of game, and well, it'll never happen again, and they're trying to pull the dress off the kid. And I mean, if these women peed I would not be surprised if they peed their pants. Okay? And the little boy is only about 4 or 5 years old. I got the video, I downloaded it, I have to look it up again, and I'm going to put it out. But people, you have to, I understand that we try to trust others with our children because we have a life to live. I don't have any kids. Okay, someday I will. Pray to God. Well, you got to send them to daycare. You have to have a babysitter. You have to send them to school. But where does it say that you are not allowed to get involved? Where does it say that when you wake up in the morning and you send your children off, that's where your parenting ends? That is where your mama and papa bear instincts end. You know, I come from a very big family. We police ourselves. Okay? 9 out of 10 times, and it's got to be something very serious where authorities need to be called. I mean, very serious. I'm talking a fire, whatever the case is. But when it comes to policing the family, taking care of the children, taking care of ourselves, checking ourselves, and making sure that we're doing the right thing by each other and by society, that is up to us. No fucking government official, no man who doesn't have an idea whether he's man or woman has the right. No transgender organizations, no school teachers, no doctors, no counselors, no principals, no politicians. Nobody has the right to go to your children and say, you know what? Keep this from your parents. We know what's best. And then to go to a parent and say, if you don't do this, your child's going to commit suicide. Or if you don't do this, we're going to take your child away from you. Now, some people may say, well, then that means that you're contradicting yourself. No, I'm not. Raising a child, raising a boy to be a boy and raising a girl to be a girl, there's nothing wrong with that. That is the way it's supposed to be. God made no mistakes when he put that baby in you. Okay? You trying to change a child's mind to think that they're the opposite sex and then try to push legislation and try to hide it under a fear-mongering tactic to butcher that child's body and their mind, their organs, through medication and surgery and all kinds of stuff, and just some weird fanatic psychology, that's where I draw the fucking line. That's the difference between you and me. That makes me a responsible human being, a loving human being, and that makes you a demonic-driven person. Plain and simple. And there's still time for you to change your ways. But I look at some of these people, and it's like, I truly, honestly believe that there are demons inside of these people. Because what else can it be? Why can't they just live their adult lives and stop trying to push this agenda? You see what I read in the article. It's a stylish fad. It's something that's being pushed. When I read that article and I seen the video months ago, like I said, I got to find it again, of this doctor who said it's an impossibility for this movement to be so rapid in society. In the past 20 years, and now it's the past 10 years that is just speeding up. He said it's only one thing. It's not real. It is something that is being pushed. It's an agenda that is being pushed. Has nothing to do with science. Has nothing to do with the way a person is born. It is an agenda being pushed by evil, demonic people. That's basically what it is. They get off on the fact of seeing people intersex and transitioning and all that. They get off on that. It's sick, man. It's totally, totally sick. But anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store, TrueOutlawPatriot.com. Once again, people, if you can go back to the video yesterday, check it out again. Try to get that algorithm up. The same thing with this. Give it a thumbs up. Pass it around. Talk to your family. Talk to the kids. Get engaged, people, in every aspect, man. In every aspect. In the school, do not let anybody in the schools, any politicians, tell you what you can and cannot do with your child. Because you're going to have people that are going to use my argument. Well, this is my child. I want my child to transition. It still doesn't take away the fact that that makes you wrong. And especially if you're trying to push it on somebody else's child. That's it. Plain and simple. That's it. You're taking a gift from God and you're destroying it. God did not make a mistake when you were born, boy or girl. That's it. That's the bottom line. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children in this country. And keep praying for your enemies and Donald Trump. Peace.